Don't want to keep you waiting. Hey, welcome to the Knit Night Podcast. I'm Liz. I live in Las Vegas, and we're here with our friends to hang out, chat, ramble, give opinions, talk about yarn, knitting, fellowship, whatever comes up. We tend to just go with the flow. And with me is Therese, who is my sister from another mother. And we're almost the same age, and we have the same opinion on life. Say hi to Therese.
And we'll give it to you, whether you want it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi,
And with
Therese.
us is Tara from Yarn, Chicken, and Shit, and Morgan from Handmade by Me. And we're glad they're here because Tara doesn't always get to pop in because of her schedule, so yay. And Joe Bob's on her way. She's in her mobile office as we speak, so hopefully she'll be here soon. And welcome, everybody. It's Monday. What's everybody up to?
Hello.
Yes.
Not much.
Is everybody
really.
doing Puritan knitting?
I'm behind, as per usual.
I did yesterday because I sat outside in the sunshine.
Nice. Well, my other black sweater is on hiatus because I did the first part of the first sleeve, and the decrease rate is not enough. It's too loose, so I have to go back and fix it. So I started my other puritanical knitting cast on, and can I tell you, I do not like starting from the bottom on sweaters. I do not like this at all. But it's in black, and we all have the lovely Ann Pinkava to thank for that, despite the fact that I don't think her project's going to be very black. But I'm doing the Tucker sweater. Let's see, it's got cable on the top, but it's bottom up.
Oh,
so
that's going to be so pretty.
I hope so. It's going to be for my daughter. She needs a black sweater. And if you're not participating, join into the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run. I guess we're allowed to call it that on Instagram now. They're accepting the hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
All the details are on Politically Incorrect Podcasters. Everyone's welcome. It's going to be fun. And Anne's got some amazing prizes. And it'll be fun. So, Joe Bob's here.
Yeah.
There she is.
Hey.
Where Amy, not Amy, Tabitha's already giving herself the win for the puritanical. Tabitha's already won. We can just, forget about it. Anne doesn't even have to bother with the rest of it because, Tabitha's already got the over with. Hey, Joe Bob. Can you hear us? I don't know if you can hear us or not.
Who's here? Oh, what a
Go, Bob.
quiet, boring Monday night. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
We can.
Oh, what should I do here? Technical issues. Hang on, I'm going to go upside down. That's better. Now I can see you. Oh, hang on. Oh, my goodness. Apologies, I'm late for a very important date.
Tara, do you have earbuds in?
I do. Let me tell the men sitting over there that they need to stop talking about guns
Yeah.
and hunting animals in Africa.
Who's
Who's
in the
that's not a good
background?
conversation, but that's just not knitting.
Passive mouse
right now.
you. Yeah, guys, rack off. Go outside. Do some hunting or wood chopping or something. Feed the chooks. Take the garbage out. Come on, men. Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. Apologies.
How many lambs do you have?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Welcome to my farm, my zoo. We've still got inside little Tilly, little Timothy, and little Frankie. And then we've got Pip, the puppy that Jack's brought home. And yesterday we got Nip, the calf. She's not inside. Not yet, anyway. She's outside. Nip is an Angus heifer. She's a very, very skinny little girl. So Millie is very concerned about her, and she didn't feed very well yesterday. She only had half of what she expected her to drink this morning, but I think she'll work it out. I think once she calms down, she's with Murray, Murray the Merino, and they're very scared of each other. They're looking at each other going, "You're not my mother." So hopefully over the next week things will settle down. I just have to say before I get started, I have left my notifications on. So if you see my hand going for the phone, it's to leave and look at notifications, because we have bushfires happening right now all around us.
yeah.
And it is a stinking hot day today with really big winds. So if a grass fire whips up near my home, I need to get there. So I've left notifications on if anybody calls me or if I get the notifications about fires.
Sure, absolutely.
Some people, so north of Mudgee yesterday, a fire took hold, and it very, very quickly went from a fire to a grass fire, out of control, and people being told to bunker down. There was no way for them to get out. So I don't believe anybody's been injured, and I'm sure they fought the valiant fight yesterday, because today it says the fire advice says it's under control or being controlled. But the winds are wild, so at any moment they can whip up and change direction, and the embers are being, of course, the embers fly for up to a couple of miles, so a spot fire can start at any time. But I'm in the middle of town today. It's a beautiful, glorious spring day, and I've even brought my freezer pack, because otherwise my chocolate would be melted before I got here. So I'm good for snacks. I've got 2 coffees. It's a 2-coffee day. And welcome to my food channel, because today I want to talk about some food that I have recently tried.
Well, let's say hey to Neil and Anne first, because they popped in too.
Hey, guys.
Well, I only joined so that we could have 6 squares on the screen, so it would be even. And then Anne joined, and now we're not even anymore.
I'm sorry. I can
Bloody Anne.
My OCD is going crazy.
Me too. We need 2 more people. We need a Brady Bunch, please. Jump in, friends. 2 more people, please.
Yes.
How is everybody?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
I'm late,
guys.
by the way.
Is Neil
I was
awake?
late
Are you
as well,
still awake?
Neil.
Well, I've got a car today, and I was going to stream from the car, but then I
You let me
realised
down.
that it's midnight and it's pitch black, and you wouldn't have seen a thing. So maybe that'd be a good thing. I don't know. So the thought was there, but
Thank you.
Aw. Hello, chat.
Well,
Welcome.
everyone's doing it, Neil. Annie did it. DK was in her vehicle, her mobile office. I'm on trends now.
Oh yes,
I think
you've
you need to do an
stolen my
episode where
friend Annie
everybody's
off me.
in there. Oh yeah, Annie is Joe's now. Neil, sorry.
Yeah,
Unashamedly, I'm stealing her. She's my pen pal now.
and you've stolen Morgan off me.
Hey, you got to fight us all for Morgan.
I'm gonna have no
All
friends
of us.
left.
We didn't force her on. We just invited her on, and she was nice enough to keep coming. So
Yeah,
No,
we've got a planned
voluntold.
show. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Voluntold, exactly.
yeah, that
She's
was
my
only for
friend.
that one knit along. That's all.
That didn't happen. Wink, wink.
So, what's everybody working on? Before Joe tells us about her food, real quick, get that out of the way.
I'm glad Neil's here. No, we are a knitting chit chat, a Monday night. Grab your beverage, kick back, join me in black. Neil, James, what's on your needles?
Well, nothing really. I've literally just cast on some stitches just so I've got something to do while we're on. Because my mother's ranunculus is finished and it's now at her house. And she won't model it until it's been blocked and washed and all that. So she's been a bit of a pain in the backside. But it's done and it does fit. So, so there.
It does. So I owe you a prize. I owe you a
don't.
prize.
You don't.
Oh,
owe
I
me anything,
do.
Don't worry.
You did so well to slug it out.
Yeah,
She'll
with
send
those
you some
bloody
Heinz
8mm
beans.
needles.
She'll send you a coupon to buy
Wow.
Heinz beans.
Yeah. No, some Vegemite, please.
Okay.
But the other thing I'm working on is a crochet pattern, which you can't really. Oh, you can see. It's going to be a hat,
Oh,
but it's not.
ooh.
It's not going to be.
Oh, Treat, that is
standard
so
hat.
you. That's
It's
so
good-
your
oops.
Pittsburgh colors.
It's going to be more
Mhm.
like. Do they call it a cloche or a cloche hat? So
Oh, I like
it's gonna
a
have a-
cloche.
It's going to have a band round here of black, and then it's going
Oh.
to flare out at the bottom. So, but I'm
Is
at
it gonna have a big
Very
flower?
point. Sorry, what's that, Liz?
Is it going to have a big flower? Because a lot of cloches have a big flower on the side.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I
just
might
a
do one
ribbon.
that's optional, and
Okay.
Yeah.
the model
Had your own
that's wearing
flowers
it
made.
isn't the type of person that likes to wear flowers. So I
No,
don't.
you could just do a wide trim of ribbon around the base of it. It's lovely.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that just because of Anne. Oh, God, I'm going to do it in black so that it can pass the 3/4 black test. So
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, it doesn't matter. Tabitha's already won. According to her,
Oh,
she's already
right.
won because she's blocking her black shawl, so she's already won the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run.
Oh well, no point doing it now. Then is
Right.
No,
There
No.
will be 3 separate prizes. And though I haven't declared, I'm just going to say right now, you can't win them all. Okay?
there?
If you
Oh,
win
she changes
one,
the rules. Oh, on a whim.
Dictator, I can do that.
Dictator. You saw that
Think of
word on my
Barnes.
lips. Dictator.
I'm knitting a sweater bottom up now, and I agree with you. I don't like it. It's the first one I've ever done, so it may be the last one I ever do. So I totally get that.
Oh, please try one. Please try one. It will fit you much nicer. It will sit better. It will last longer. It won't go out of shape like a top down with no seams. Absolutely do a seamed jumper. Do try
Well-
one. They're very good. If you get a
And
good
don't-
pattern,
And don't you find them
it'll last you
quicker as
forever.
well? I mean, I know you've got to do
Yes.
front and back, obviously, but it does seem to go faster
Yes.
because there's less to do at a time. You know,
That's right. You can do the sleeves at the same time. You could do, I mean, depending on the pattern, you could do the front and the back at the same time up until the neck. You can do the sleeves at the same time. Do it.
Well, I'll
It's
probably do the
great.
sleeves at the same. I'll probably do the sleeves at the same time, but so far it's just a tube. It's part of my puritanical knitting, and it's
Lovely.
it's very black because I'm following the rules, unlike other people.
Can I just
you
go
are,
back
you are
to
a
her-
what?
keeper, aren't you?
Unlike our benevolent dictator who's not using 3/4% black.
First off,
Mhm,
A, I am the
mhm.
benevolent dictator, and therefore I am allowed to make exceptions. B, it was a colorway specifically made
I
for the
know.
knit-along, and therefore I
I
can
know.
waive all whatever. And C, it's stunning. It is so pretty.
Oh, it is. It's so pretty. I got mine in the mail the other day.
Oh,
So pretty. It's just
Oh.
funny because it's all back, black back for a month. And then suddenly, but it doesn't have to be black if it's this color.
well, if
Um,
other dyers dye a specific colorway that's, black realms, that's fine.
You'll be a sucker for anything. Neil, what
I
was
am.
that little stretch that you cast on? What's that going to be, that
Yes.
project that you've just cast on?
I
Yes.
have no idea. I don't even know how many stitches
Oh.
I've cast on. I just cast on a load
Oh.
of stitches. It's
Well,
just
what's
so I've
it
got
going to
something
be when
to
it grows
knit.
up?
You're my kind of guy.
I mean, I don't know. It could be something. It could be the start
Could
of
be a cow.
sweater.
Could be a cow.
I think there's
I love
about
that.
180 stitches, but I'm only guessing, so I don't know. It could be a cowl, couldn't it? But then it's not in the round, so
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I don't know what it'll be. And I'll probably unravel it all by the time we finished the chat. I'll probably just pull it all out.
no.
From Liz Can
Oh.
Knit. Her project's 200% black and beautiful. Fight the power. Black matter.
I don't know about in Australia, but in the UK now it's Black History Month. So was that part of your plan, Anne?
Not at all. Black History Month is February. We all know that.
Well, I don't know whether you saw the post I made. They've been very clever, the LGBT people and the Black History people, because half the world does it in October, the other half does it in November. So, in February, which means they get 2 months per year. And there's obviously a lot of crossover. So when you're having the Black History Month, we're having the LGBT thing and vice versa. So basically, every month is a bloody month of some description or other, isn't it?
Well, while that's totally fair, it's mighty rich of you to think that England cares about what's going on in America, and America cares about what's going on in England. So
England does care what happens in America. I would say it's the
really
Americans
most people don't.
care.
I'm sorry, Neil. Most people they don't like Michaelmas.
Wow.
I said, "Hey guys, happy Michaelmas!" When I came into work, they all looked at me like a strange cat. Like, it's just not a thing. So all of the little British and Commonwealth holidays, it's just not known, including your Black History Month. So, we may know
ignorant. How ignorant, Neil.
I know.
Ignorant.
She's dissing you as well, I think.
She is. Yep, by proxy. Yep.
You've made me drop a stitch now. Look.
Oh no, disaster.
I mean,
it's such an important point as well.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's totally fair to say that, the sun never sets on the Rainbow Empire, but also that a lot of people don't communicate between them. So I don't.
Can I just say hello and good evening to my adopted daughter, Tara. Thank you for your last episode. It was amazing.
It was really good.
You're welcome.
It was great. I love it. I love you sitting outside and listening to all the chooks clucking away and the turkeys carrying on. What are you knitting on today, Tara?
I am working on my growth ring shawl because I need light.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do my puritanical knitting fun run at the moment. So,
it's amazing.
I'm on
that is so
You're really tempting me. You and Tabitha are really tempting me to just pull out a whole tub of stash and go for it.
It's a good one to do. Like if you just don't want to have to think about it outside of counting rounds. And I'm over 1,100 stitches, so it's not like I have to count all that often.
What skein are you up to? What number, roughly?
6.
Do you know?
I'm on skein number 6.
I think that's...
So.
I think that's
totally
one
gonna be,
pattern I have to...
That's totally going to be your shawl to hold on to and wrap up in. You're not letting that out to anybody, I hope.
Oh, no. It's taken too long.
I really like it for something so simple.
When are you going to cast on the one out of the Lord of the Rings book? That sweater with the...
I don't know. I don't know.
That's my daughter wants me to neuter that one. And I have yarn for it, but it probably won't happen.
Such a cool design, isn't it?
So
I looked it up. It's really interesting.
How is it constructed?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't read the book yet.
It's knit, and then the wraps are knit. So I'm not sure exactly how that works because I just glanced at it. But I showed my daughter and the book, and she's like, I like this one. So that'll be whenever Tara does her thing, I'll knit that one.
So it's
pointed
downward. So is it a wrap and turn? Like
I don't know. I didn't really get into it. I just because I was looking at everything in the book. My only complaint about the book is the fake elf ears were very distracting.
Oh my gosh, it was awful.
It was so fake, like Halloween costume
as well.
It was Halloween costume fake, like not good Halloween cosplay, but Halloween costume, and it was very distracting. If they just had them, it looked better. But
But yeah,
It's a cool book, though.
I need to look at the calendar next year to see when we want to do a Fellowship of the Knits thing. And I don't want to limit it to just the book because, like, there's another designer. She's got a couple of beautiful Lord of the Rings themed shawls and some other like Tolkien related patterns. I forget her name. I should know. She's the one who, she's Russian, and the cancel people went after her because she used name. Yes, Kulebra. Yeah, her designs are really pretty, but her Lord of the Rings designs will definitely count because they're all super pretty.
What about Lord of the Rings
She's a
yarn?
very clever designer, isn't she?
Oh, she is. Yes, and Lord of the Rings yarn will count too. I kind of want to look at the calendar of events in the Lord of the Rings appendices. Yes, I am nerding out right now. And pick a date. I don't know that I want to pick Hobbit Day because everyone knows Hobbit Day. But something different.
What? When? Who?
We just celebrated Hobbit Day.
Yeah, and people do too many
Hobbit Day. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
What day is that? What month? What year?
September
what day is
22nd.
Hobbit Day?
September 22nd.
Oh,
because
I knew that. What do you do to celebrate Hobbit Day normally?
Post stuff on Instagram and read.
You eat breakfast twice.
Meme it up. Oh, really? I could be in for that. September? I can't wait until September for you to host a knit along or a make along.
No, we're not going to wait that long. I want to look at the calendar. Like, there's a timeline in the appendices that has like a list like of all the dates of when different key events in Lord of the Rings happens. And I'll pick a different day.
Right.
Cool.
Thank you.
Just like whatever. Wow. I don't know who any of the characters are.
And I don't want to like.
Everyone knows Hobbit Day.
Well, and I want to make sure that I'm not like overlapping because we've got quite a few things going on in our circles over the next few months. So
yeah,
okay. Something coming. I'm going to catch up
because there's something coming in January.
Oh yes.
Oh, kill me now.
That Amy from Two Sisters and Some Yarn is working on, and it's going to be through a lot of different venues, a lot of different opportunities, and a lot of different people are participating in. So it should be a lot of fun.
Hey, as much as knitting black yarn is a pain in the butt, it is a very stackable knit along. You can play with other things.
You're killing me.
Yeah, but I don't know if
don't make excuses.
No, I don't think the one in January is good. It's not going to have any specific patterns involved, though. So that'll be, knit whatever you're knitting.
And our, not Neil James, beautiful friend Morgan, what are you knitting on, my darling?
I am still trying to get through this exploration station. I am now.
It's looking so good.
Are you on that last bit? It's a killer, the last bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm on section 4 right now. So
well done.
Ooh, there we go.
That's amazing.
Nice. That's really pretty.
Oh, you are going to love that. Yeah.
So I'm excited to get this done. It'll be the first, well, not first, because I finally got that mitten done. But, it'll be the first kind of a bit, larger of an FO in a while. So
yeah, don't listen to what Joe said about that mitten.
Wait, what?
Yes, Joe doesn't think anybody should ever come up with another mitten pattern again. They should just, move on and do something else, right, Joe?
No, the pattern is there. From what I've been hearing underground, the pattern is there. It's the designing. It's the it's the imagination that you don't have, so don't bother doing it. Oh, I hope that shawl is for you, Morgan.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You're going to look
Thank you.
so great in that this winter. Fantastic.
Thank you.
It's
And you'll be
beautiful.
warm.
Don't let anybody offer
I
to.
know.
I bet you people will offer to buy that off you. It's beautiful.
People have offered before, but honestly, I tend to just
Mm.
not do it just because, I don't know, it's like in the past when
Yep.
I've tried to sell things, it didn't really go over very well, so I kind of just gave up with that, and I just was like,
No,
all right,
just
you want
tell
it,
them if you make something and they say they would like to buy it, give them some outrageous amount of money, and say, well, it's $450, and then
Right.
chances are they're going to look at you and say nothing. But you might get that one person who's willing to give you $450, and then you're like, well, then I'll just knit myself another one.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
found that the people.
Do you know?
I found that the people who are like, oh, it's like, oh, you should sell things, and then if they're like, oh, those prices aren't high enough, the people who will tell you that the prices aren't high enough are not the people paying for it, ever.
True.
Oh,
every
True.
single time.
Like my family knows not to
Some
suggest that I
people-
sell it. I've done that before, and
some makers will sell anything, but look what Amy did to my crocheted blanket that she was making for my birthday. Bloody sold it. Jean Ellis, you're not my friend anymore. Sold it. It was supposed to
are
be
you
coming
sure?
on a plane to me. She sold it.
Are you
Oh,
Are
who
you
was
sure
it?
she
Who was
knew
it
it
that
was
bought
supposed to
it?
come on a
Perhaps
plane?
it wasn't Jean.
No, it was.
It was absolutely all that time she took to make that, all those beautiful single coloured rows of that big blanket. This is the granny square. Oh, I can't believe she sold it. She sold it.
Are you sure
Indian
she knew
giver.
it was for you?
Oh, is that? Hey, I think I was racist then. Apologies, Indian giver. I'll just be racist again. It was mine. It was made for me. Yeah, bigot. It was made for me. It was beautiful, and she bloody sold it. Do anything for money, that girl would.
Hey, it went for a very good cause, though.
Yeah, all wanting to give the proceeds to charity or something. Lame.
I'm a good cause. I'm a charity. I could be a charity. I have no shame in my game.
You wouldn't need to be a charity if Neil got your reparations from King Charles.
Well, maybe I've already.
I
got
could
the
have been living
reparations, but I'm
closer
just
to
keeping
Annie.
hold of them.
I want to move
new
closer
BFF?
to Annie so we can see each other at the beach on the weekends. She is my BFF. I haven't told her yet. She's gorgeous. Neil James, she's gorgeous. And
Oh,
you got to chat with her.
I did in real life, yes. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And I met
I
her
hope
daughter
you put in a good word
and
for me.
son-in-law.
Oh, how
Yeah,
lovely.
you don't mess with Annie because her family are all kickboxing people. So her son-in-law is I don't know what weight he is. I don't know what the way it works, but he's like the champion of his weight, I think, or he's a contender for champion of his weight. I don't know. I might have got that a bit wrong, but her daughter does it as well. So it's like no messing with Annie. You know what I mean?
Really? Oh, she's like the godmother.
Yeah.
The godmother of knitting.
Yeah.
Don't mess with that mafia. Wow. Oh, just seeing her with and I watched again because I had to watch it twice, and I didn't realise till the second time I watched it that she had a Lamberton Terrier.
Oh, I don't know what.
I was looking, going, "What's that dog?" What? Oh, okay. She'll have to chat to me on her next on our next little pen pal videos and let me know.
I noticed.
It looks like a Lamberton Terrier.
I noticed you were very much like, oh, well, if she can make it so late, because it's so late over there in England. It's like, oh, you don't give a shit when it's late for me. Somehow it's later for Annie. Oh, what was that? I missed that
Not
last
everyone
bit.
stays up that late.
My goodness.
That's because Joe's racist against black lesbian women.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I am not. And if you want to put your jammies on and join us, we'll do a different time just for you, Neil. Only because Annie can come too. Oh, and my best girlfriend in the world, Therese, my darling, I've missed you all week, and I'm so sorry Eagles won again in their latest match. So sorry.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I missed you, Therese. How did your
Yours
team
better.
go? How's your team going?
This is a family-friendly podcast. I would like to defer because I don't have anything good to say right now. And poor Morgan doesn't need to hear the words that will come out of my mouth.
It's not
Profanity
like
indeed.
I've heard before. It's probably not anything I haven't heard before.
How?
It is still early yet, though.
That's
So
true.
does that mean
Oh, I made
your
up some
socks?
new words.
Your socks have got holes in them or something? Did you actually knit while you watched was your match on? Did you watch that, or is that tonight?
No, I can't. I can't because what tonight? No. What?
Wait, tonight? Oh, wait.
When was
No, there's football
when
tonight,
did your
but not-
team play? Not that I don't take any notice of your team, so
I don't
that's
even
why I'm
know
just
who's
trying to
playing
catch
tonight.
up.
Seattle? I don't know.
Was it yesterday?
Yesterday. Oh well, they're still playing. So
Gotcha. It takes them that long to score a try.
yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
2 days ago
Gotcha.
for you.
A touchdown.
Hey,
Oh, what a
Hey,
touchdown you
her
call it, right?
her baseball team is in the playoffs, though, so that's good.
Oh, go the
The
Philly
baseball team
Fanatics.
is kicking butt. So silver lining.
Okay.
To confirm, do you mean
Okay. And what have you been working
Pittsburgh
on?
Pirates?
Wait, what?
What? What'd you say, Ann?
I said to confirm, your baseball team is
Baltimore. The Orioles.
okay. I was
She's an
about to
Orioles
say
fan.
if your baseball team matched your football team and the Pirates were doing well, that would be a shocker
Baltimore.
indeed.
Or Orioles.
All right, good. Just saying. I don't even pay attention. I know. Oof. Those poor Pirates.
What's your team called again, Therese? The old Codgers. What's their mascot? A wheelchair.
You disablest.
Whoops. A walking frame.
Wow.
Do they run up and down the field on their hospital beds with some orderly pushing them along? Catch. Pass it to me. Pass it to me. Whoops, miss.
No, that's going to be the Brewers. The Brewers made the playoffs, but it's not like...
Oh, look. Therese isn't talking to me anymore. Uh-oh.
She was
I've lost my
stunned into
sister.
silence.
I know, right?
Pre or post?
Oh, she's
okay,
left
the
me
chat's a
forever.
little weird, but probably not. She'll be
Is
back.
it? I don't know.
Oh,
She'll
yeah, they're
probably have
talking
all her
about-
gear on, all her merch on.
Hot Pockets and whatnots. So who's going to do the Tabitha's knit along? The West knits or the worst knits?
I'm thinking about it. But I probably won't.
Why not?
You should, because
It'll be
you
fun.
want Tabitha to do another episode with you, right?
Oh, she will. She'll do it, won't you? She's watching, isn't she? I think.
She was at the beginning. She might be off now.
Right. I don't know.
Oh,
I won't.
just-
I'm not going
I
to
was
wear
just-
it. So
I was just thinking, Neil, your 180 stitches could be anything with how tight you knit. Like that could be the neck of a jumper for you,
could be a glove.
whereas the rest of us do, 100.
Well, I
Uh-oh,
am
here she
using
comes. I'm in
7
trouble.
millimeters.
Oh my good grief, 7 millimeters. Oh, well, it could be a poncho then. You could join it in the round at any time and make a poncho for yourself. Oh, leaves are
Yo-Yo
blowing
says,
into
"Do
the
it,
car.
Neil."
I'll think about it.
I don't know. What was I going to say? I lost track. Oh, there's a two
Was that
sizes.
pirate? Oh, sorry, I've got the
That's what it was.
sniffles with all
Yeah,
this
that was
wind.
pirate. That was pirate. He and Liz are chatting. It's two sizes though.
Oh,
He
good,
said
good.
you don't have to do the big size.
Well,
Have you seen Pirate's comment?
excuse
That
me.
makes sense.
While Pirate's here, I just want to say, excuse me, what is that crap in a tin that you guys call creamed rice? Thanks, Ambrosia. Good grief. Good grief. I tried some of that crap last week.
Are we on to food now?
Ambrosia. Oh, I'm losing my
And this one's for you.
losing my voice. Excuse me. Ambrosia creamed rice. Neil. It is disgusting. Disgusting.
Frog spawn.
Oh, what did Murder say?
What? Oh, she finished her shawl for Paisley for her book report.
Aw, that's adorable.
I think she's doing Little House on the Prairie is what she's for her book report.
So is this a new thing in America where you don't actually have to write anything for a report? You just wear a shawl?
No, she has to give her. She has. Oh, Little Women. She has to verbally give it.
Ah.
You know, talk about the book and everything. Paisley's just the sort to dress for it because she goes over the top, and we adore her for that. So.
Oh, she's.
I don't know if the other kids will. Totally, and I adore her little haircut. So, and she hasn't tried to kidnap Molly in a long time, has she, Anne?
She hasn't. She hasn't. Poor Molly probably misses her.
Molly's going to feel unloved.
I know. Poor girl.
Having technical.
I thought Ambrosia was pink milky Jello with marshmallows and coconut. Yeah, that's what I thought so too, Liz. I don't know what they're talking about for Ambrosia and Anne.
Rice pudding.
That's
Ambrosia rice pudding. Or Ambrosia custard. I think they're the two products that Ambrosia do, I think. Yeah, the rice pudding isn't very nice. And
oh, Ambrosia is the company.
Yeah, Ambrosia is the
brand.
Yeah.
So not the dish Ambrosia. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'd never heard of the dish Ambrosia, whatever that is.
It's like a Jello salad.
So by Jello, do you mean jelly or do you mean jam?
No, I mean Jello.
No, like gelatin.
So jelly. All your faces are like, what?
You don't put gelatin on your toast, Neil. Come on.
Well, you don't put jelly on your toast.
Yeah, jelly. Yeah. Well,
I can't.
Well,
Yeah,
goes between like jelly or
there's
jam.
a distinction between jam and jelly. Jelly is made out of the fruit juice.
Yes.
Jam is made out of the fruit.
Yes.
Well, we have conserve and we have jam. And then jelly is what you call Jello, I think. It's like
Liz is
wobbly.
right. It is.
Yeah.
It is a church potluck standard for sure. Jelly, the French version.
But yeah, I think
creamed rice should be creamy.
Okay.
Not
I'm getting all confused.
house salad.
I've gone dizzy. All the people moving about.
Oh Lord, Liz.
Yes, jelly.
What's the wiggly bar?
What do you call it,
oil,
Joe?
Bones, diamonds. Which one? Jelly? Aeroplane jelly?
Is it jelly or Jello for you?
Yeah, we don't have Jello.
Oh, good.
No, we don't have Jello. We have jelly. The powdered one that you boil, you put boiling water in to dissolve the jelly crystals. Yeah, jelly.
Yeah, jelly. Yeah. And what do you call jam?
Jam. Or some people with the fruity ones, I mean, they're all jam, but some people call them, you see on the shelves, some of them are called conserves. But they're jams. Always strawberry jam, blackberry jam, no matter how much fruit you put in it or not, it's always a jam. Anything with fruit in it. Pineapple jam, apricot jam. Oh my gosh, apricot jam is the bomb.
It is.
Okay, what's the difference then between a jam and a marmalade?
Well, marmalade is citrus.
A marmalade.
It's either orange or
Oh, I
lemon
love orange
or,
marmalade.
Yeah.
Orange marmalade's got orange rind in it. It's delicious.
Yeah, I thought
Oh my gosh.
I thought marmalade had the rind in it.
Rind.
Yeah, it does.
Well, some doesn't though. Some marmalade can be rind free.
Really?
And yeah, and you still call it marmalade.
You don't have that rind.
Well, no, we do have
No,
rind as well, but there is a rind-free one.
That's like having
That was
bacon
cold.
with no rind on it. Good grief. You need that fat. It's good stuff. But no, I'm sorry. I'm sorely disappointed with your ambrosia creamed rice. It tastes like what I imagined mouse pellets would taste like in some slimy, dirty dishwater. It was disgusting.
It called
and it was
ambrosia
hard.
creamed rice, or was it called rice pudding? Because
No,
if
it was creamed rice, so I expected it to be cream.
that isn't a product we have.
Yeah,
We don't
in a
have
can.
ambrosia creamed rice. So I don't know what that is.
Made in the UK.
Maybe
Made
it's
in
the
the
shit
oil.
that
Yeah,
we
you know what?
ship
That
to
just
Australia for the
export
convicts.
to third world countries. Aye, that's what I was thinking when I spent my $4.20 on a piddly tin of it.
What?
It was disgusting.
Did you have it cold or did you warm it up?
Yeah,
You had it cold.
creamed rice is premium. Even Australian creamed rice in a tin. I like. There's a company called Roy and Ruby or Ruby and Roy, and they have handmade, locally made cream rice, and it stands up on its own. It is super creamy, and the rice is soft, and it's thick like a pudding. Oh my gosh, that stuff is like heaven on a stick. It's the best.
I don't imagine rice pudding in a can. That just creeps me out.
Well, the thing for me is, why would you buy it in a can when it is so easy to make? Even I can make rice pudding, and make it well. It's like one of the first
make it in
things
the
you
crock
learn
pot.
to cook, isn't it?
I make it in the crock pot.
Ah. Do you not do it so that
yum.
it gets a skin on the top?
Yeah.
And you get
But
that in a
it's-
crock pot, do you?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So you can buy it here in the dairy section, in the refrigerated section. You can buy containers of it. I've never seen it in a can.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Oh, you've not?
No.
Oh, okay. I do
I
like
find
it in those, the fresh made stuff in tins, in the containers, in the fridge section. But no, on the shelves, you get tins of creamed rice that you can heat up or chill in the fridge.
I do find it weird.
Yeah.
Americans sort of
It's
tin
getting
and
more
can
and more
everything.
expensive.
Oh, Liz, that's why we love you.
Everybody likes their smoked rice pudding.
Hey, you can smoke a lot of stuff, and it's really good. Like, my daughter has a recipe for smoked cream, and you smoke the heavy cream, and then you use that to make a dessert, and you get the smoky, or you smoke caramel. She's gonna do that once it cools off a little. And smokers are cool. You can smoke a lot of things. My sister-in-law makes smoked chocolate chip cookies in hers, and it just gives it a really. It's not a heavy smoke, but it's just a little touch of it that just makes the cookies taste a little different.
Now I'm really hungry.
It's that great. We've been camping for weeks. Feel.
I know.
That's why we rebelled, according to Tom Steve, because we grill everything and fry it.
Because you gotta. Better than boiling it.
Right, that's what George Washington. What George Washington wanted to do was to deep fry his food, so he led the Continental Army for the right to deep fry his food.
Hasn't Tomsky got Scottish roots? Wouldn't he be the kind to deep fry a Mars bar?
I don't know. Do they do that
Well,
in
he's from
Scotland?
Yorkshire, so he's going to eat Yorkshire pudding, which is just batter.
Tara, tell Tomsky how barbecue sauce is a controversy in the U.S.
No barbecue sauce. That is inappropriate. It's all about the rub. The barbecued meat
Wow.
should taste amazing on its own. It should stand on its own. Barbecue sauce is a sign of poorly smoked meat.
Ah.
I agree.
So do
Mhm.
I.
So when I come over
Yeah.
in 2025, are you going to join us, Joe? Are you coming over as well? Who's going to do the barbecue for me and give me some
No, I'll
proper
take you
barbecue?
to
Oh, I
places in Texas. Because Texas Monthly Magazine.
Anne and I will.
Tara's
We'll
not going to
rate.
make you a sandwich, Neil. We can eat out. It's okay. We have the technology.
Well,
I
no,
think-
like the top, the
Yes,
top
Liz.
brisket place in the state of Texas, as rated by Texas Monthly Magazine, isn't even run by a guy. It's run by a pit mistress, and it's like out in the middle of nowhere. It's Snow's Barbecue, and like it's so fresh you can hear the cows mooing.
That's amazing.
Nice.
I'm going to interrupt this
You do the-
barbecue conversation, and well, first off, say that Paisley has similar tastes to Donald Trump, but also I want to show off my shawl. Wait, do I have the right side?
Ooh, pretty.
Hang on. Okay, there I have.
Oh dear,
Oh, it looks so black.
pretty.
Nice.
Those holes aren't that big. Those
Yeah,
holes aren't that big.
yeah. I was going to sort of twist the stitches so they're smaller, but then I looked at the pattern and I'm like, nah, they need. Like this is a time that I should listen to Stephen West. Not often, but I should. But
Oh,
yeah,
Tomsky.
beautiful. And it makes me happy. Anyways.
Yes,
I
women
love-
can be in charge of cooking. So, you know.
I'm biting my lip. I'm dying to say something really rude, but I won't. I know my place.
Where is Joe Bob? Joe Bob's frozen, lost again. She must be moving her car.
Tomsky, you've upset Joe Bob. Apologise now.
Oh, she wouldn't leave for Tomsky. She would just go right back at him. They have a unique relationship.
Abusive.
Oh, no, Tomsky, you're wrong because we do not overcook things on the grill. You cook them low and slow. Barbecue is
It
not
takes
grilling. They're two
time.
totally different things.
Neil,
Grilling is
Neil, I
fast cooking,
apologize
like
for
searing.
this, but you should. But for everybody else, you should never take a Brit's opinion on grilling. I'm sorry, Neil. I'm very sorry, but if Tomsky's talking
Truth.
crap in the chat, no, don't.
Yeah,
Just-
I'm with you on this one, actually. I would agree with you on that. I don't think it's our
Grilling is-
forte.
Grilling is something totally different than barbecue. It's a different kind of cooking.
Yeah,
Mary
and
Jason,
Well-
Karen
non
is-
Southerners will conflate barbecue and grilling.
Yeah, no.
See, so it's like barbecue, in the South, and then up here in the North, it's fish fries. It's fried,
Yeah.
fish fried,
Yum.
cheese curds fried, pickles fried. Let's see what else.
Oh, we
So-
fry all kinds of stuff in the South too.
True.
I mean, that's true.
That is
That's true.
When you say cheese curds,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
They
So
are good.
like they're just like cubes of cheese basically, and you just coat them,
Just-
drop them in there. It's so
Oh.
good.
well,
So is it a
So
bit like
good.
what we would call paneer?
I have no
So-
clue what that is.
No.
Is it like
Yeah, I don't know
homemade?
what
Do
that
you
is.
make it yourself?
no, because
No.
cheese curds. So you have cheese curds are like they're in little balls basically. They're not congealed into a large chunk. They're not normally like
Right.
cut up.
Are they wet?
Paneer.
Are they in like a liquid?
No.
Not a liquid, but is it wet? Like a
Um,
milky appearance to it.
They not usually.
No.
Ah, right. Okay.
Normally they've strained off and been processed past that point before you batter and fry them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're really great, but they need to be battered and fried because they'll be melty on the inside. Paneer melts at a different rate, so you can cut it up and fry it directly.
Ah, right, okay.
So it's a different.
Yeah, because I couldn't work out whether you were talking about what we call cottage cheese, but that's like I don't know whether you have that.
No,
as well.
no, that's
No,
what
we do have cottage cheese.
Think more like think more like fresh mozzarella, but in little small pieces.
I want to
Except
try
it's
that.
not
That sounds
mozzarella.
nice.
It's not mozzarella, but it's like that kind of texture.
So it's
And it doesn't
fresh
come out of a
mozzarella.
squirty tin like the other cheese.
No.
No. So that paired with a brandy old fashioned, that's Wisconsin for you.
A brandy old fashioned. Is that a drink?
So
an
good.
alcoholic drink?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you eat cheese with a brandy drink?
I mean, not always.
It's
but
Wisconsin.
I mean,
You
it
eat
can
cheese with
happen.
everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow,
Aren't
I'm
you
learning
required to
so
have
much.
cheese at every meal? In Wisconsin, don't you have to have cheese at every meal?
I mean, pretty much. Yeah.
It's a magical place.
I know.
Yeah, that's the one thing I discovered when I moved closer to the Midwest is the fried cheese curds, which are amazing.
No, pirate. No, this is actual cheese. It's not, the cheese in the tin or the bottle.
That's not.
We're
Yeah,
not
that's
frying Velveeta.
spray cheese is not cheese. We have real cheese.
No, yeah.
Oh, I tell you what I found out the other day. You know your breakfast cereals that you eat? Well, not you, but you Americans eat. We have a lot of the same ones, but we don't have any of the chemicals in it that you guys put in yours. And I just wondered why that is.
Well, I know
I
that
don't know.
the EU has different regulations than the FDA in America does.
Because apparently cornflakes, particularly, because you have cornflakes, don't you? Kellogg's cornflakes.
Mm-hmm.
There's something in your cornflakes that apparently is really bad that we wouldn't have here. So.
Yeah, the FDA goes out
probably
there
just-
to be Amish. That's what they care
It's
about.
probably the history. It's probably the history of Kellogg and cornflakes. Because if you know Dr. Kellogg's history, it's not a good thing.
I was just about to say,
Look 'em up.
modified corn product. It's what killed the X-Men. So sad.
Well,
I
because
need to think about this.
it was a cure.
I don't.
It was a cure for
And that terrible
all
Logan
sorts
movie.
of Yeah,
Oh.
that's okay because there's a multiverse. He's still alive now because he's going to be in Deadpool 3. So see how that works. Nobody's ever dead in superhero. The only ones who ever stay dead are is Uncle Ben. Because even Bruce and Martha Wayne come back, or Thomas and Martha Wayne come back occasionally, but Uncle Ben stays dead.
And Ma and Pa Kent have come back, haven't they, a few times? So even Superman's mum and dad. Although his Kryptonian mum and dad haven't, I don't think. Or have they?
Krypton mega dead.
Just those pesky lumps of
Joe
kryptonite.
Bob. I have not eaten muesli because I don't eat a lot of things with nuts because I'm allergic to nuts, but I don't know about you guys.
Ah.
Y'all eat muesli?
Yeah, I eat muesli. When I was a kid, muesli was like what my mum had, and I always thought it was really posh. Well, it kind of is because it's quite expensive, isn't it? No one else was allowed to eat it in the house, and it was the only thing I wanted because we weren't allowed to eat it. So now I often have muesli just because of that.
Tomsky, cornflakes don't have baked in sugar. That's frosted flakes. Cornflakes are plain and bland.
Frosted flakes.
Frosted flakes have the sugar.
We call them Frosties. What do you call them, Joe? Is it
They are Frosties, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the tiger on the front.
They're called Frosties with the tiger. With the tiger on the packet. Is that
Tony.
it? The brand?
Tony.
Yeah, Tony the tiger.
Tony the tiger. Yeah, Frosties.
That's so
Sure
weird
wouldn't
because
mind
it's the
me
same
a packet of
company.
Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms have increased to $19 a box now, so that's really hard for me to
What?
walk
That's a
away
box
from
of
it. But I
cereal.
do. Yeah.
What the hell are they? Gold?
I don't know. I don't know
They
what
are Lucky
cornflakes he's
Charms
talking about.
from the US. Yum. Lucky Charms are just sugar and marshmallow sugar and more sugar. I do love them, but I'm not going to pay $19 a box. No.
So I know that there's some places online where you can just buy the marshmallows. I think we should get together and just send Joe a ton of them.
I guess there is some
I'll keep
sugar in
them.
them. I did not realize that. Well, even if they do
Probably not
add some
allowed to
sugar to
receive food,
cornflakes,
are you?
it's not enough to make them taste good. So.
Neil, with your pizza, do you? Okay, I know how. Because I've lived in the US for some time, and the places I've gone to have pizza, they put the cheese on the bottom and then they put the fillings on top. We put the fillings on the bottom and then we put the cheese on the top and throw it in, wood fire pizza oven. How do you guys have your cheese on your pizza? Is it all smothered across the top or is it on the bottom?
It used to be, and I don't know when it changed, but now the cheese is on the bottom and things are on the top. So when we had, I think it's because we've had some, it used to be people that didn't really know how to make pizzas were making them, whereas now we have a lot of Italians over here doing the made-up pizzas, and they do the cheese first. But
they do the sauce and the cheese on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you put toppings.
But I always used to prefer it with the cheese on the top because I don't know, there was something better about it. But because is yours on the top, is it?
Yeah. So I had a supreme pizza last night, which means tomato sauce base, ham, cabanossi, salami, red onions, capsicum, mushrooms, pineapple, hold the olives, put anchovies instead. Like, it's really a gourmet Italian meal on that thin base. And then the golden cheese over the top. So they put the mozzarella on the top and it just melts into all of those things. And then it sometimes gets golden or blackened by the wood fire. It's absolutely gorgeous to have that, burnt cheese on top or a golden cheese on top. It's never on the bottom. Never.
When I went to Sicily and had pizza there, and it was nothing like what we have. It was like it was a misshapen pizza base, that they'd obviously made themselves, that was drizzled with olive oil with some herbs in it. And I think it had the tiniest amount of cheese on it. Like, there was hardly any cheese on it. But it was so nice. But it wasn't like a pizza.
Parmigiano.
It wasn't like what we would have. Pirate's saying that... Sorry, go on.
What kind of cheeses do they use? Because I've been to where they make the Reggiano Parmigiana in Toscana, but we mostly just, if we were making it at home, it would just be a little bit of mozzarella or even just cheddar cheese grated up and thrown on the top. It's just to melt it down and hold it together, keep the fillings from moving around.
If it's a good pizza place here, then it's definitely mozzarella. But if it's a cheap one, they use that fake cheese, which is horrible. I don't know if you've had it. It's disgusting, but it's what a lot of places use because it's so cheap. I don't know what it's called. There's a name for it if anybody knows in the chat, and I can't think what it is. But it's not nice.
Usually they use mozzarella or what's the other one? The other Italian white cheese on it.
Parmesan?
Oh. No, it's not Parmesan. I mean, they put that on there too, but there's another one, pizza blend cheese. But it's mozzarella is what we get.
Neil, do you have that disgusting orange cheese like they have in the US?
The dyed
cheddar
cheese.
Or some rubbish.
I think we call it
the orange one.
We do have an orange cheese. I think we've got a couple. We've got red Leicester, but then we've got dyed cheddar that is like an orange colour. which is obviously really bad.
Yeah, it's like Halloween cheese. It's really awful, isn't it?
And if you
Fontina,
make cheese on
Fontina,
toast,
that's what
it
it is.
melts in a weird way as well.
That's why you
It's
both
like
have to
plastic.
come
Asiago and
here.
Fontina are the ones I was
Sorry,
thinking
what's
of.
that, Morgan?
That's why you both have to come to Wisconsin. Have some
Ah.
real,
Yeah, for real cheese.
I want to
Home of the
try
Real
these
cheese
cheese
curd
made
things.
there.
Huh?
Oh, good. Okay.
Joe,
Hey, Neil,
do you
Neil,
still
when
have
we
that
go-
cheese in
when we-
Australia that got banned because of the strange name?
No.
You know what I'm
starts with
talking
a
about.
C.
It does, yes.
Starts with
And
a
if you-
C.
And
Ends
if you put
ends
an
in an
RA,
N.
if you put RA in front of it, it's like the name of an animal.
It's got a new name. It's the same company, but and that's disgusting because that's somebody's surname for generations and generations. However, yes, we still have it. It's been repackaged and rebranded, which is very sad. Same with my little lollies, little brown babies that used to eat. Yeah, lollies. They changed the name.
Oh.
We have we have changed names of things because of that. Not places yet. I'm waiting for towns and bridges and creeks to be changed soon because that'll be the next thing on the map. They'll change names that are
I
deemed
saw-
offensive.
Yeah, that's
I
happening
saw
here
a thing
already.
the other day. They want to change the Magellanic Clouds, which is a thing in the solar system. The astronomers have put together a
Mhm.
petition to
Yeah.
change it because Magellan was bad, evidently. So they
Well,
want to change
sorry,
that
I was
too.
going to say, but I was muted. They've done it all over New Zealand, where they've changed it to the traditional names instead of all of the British ones. It's
Maori
terrible.
names. Maori names. Yeah.
Oh, well, here, what they're
So-
doing here,
Well,
they're
here-
changing all of the names to Asian names, to Pakistani names. And it's like that, it's like they're doing it in places like Australia and, I don't know, Canada, where there was an indigenous population before. And you kind of think, okay, there is an argument for that. But, the white English and white Scottish are the indigenous people to this land. And we shouldn't have to change our place names for an invading, culture. It's sort of
I don't mind that, changing some of the sacred places or original historical places to Indigenous names. I support that, but I'm talking about simple things like, people's surnames. When we didn't have street signs and you knew that Mr. Blackman lived 7 k's down that dirt road, it was Blackman's Road because that was their family name. But people take offence to that and want to change it. Well, that family's been there, the Blackmans, for generations.
wait till they find out about Batman Road in Melbourne. When they find out Batman's got his own street name.
Oh my goodness. But yes, we did change that famous cheese name. It's very sad. I just changed brands. I'm not going to be for that. Silly.
They've been
But
changing
you still
all the
have
names
daytime.
of the military bases here. They've been making them change all the names and get rid of all the, problematic former military people who they were named after, which is ridiculous.
That's terrible. History has been rewritten, and there's going to be no trace of the true original places or meanings or families. It's very
there's a
sad.
book that's being taught in British schools now, and it's something Black British History. I can't remember the full title, and they're basically lying in it, saying that Britain was originally a black country, only black people lived here, and that white people only came here 7,000 years ago. So the question is, where did the white people come from? Because white people were indigenous to Europe. We didn't come down off a spaceship, or did we? And they're saying that Stonehenge was built by black people and that the Cheddar Man was black. But the funny thing about that is that there's scientific proof that can't be true.
Well, they all came down from Hyperborean, Neil. Don't you know that?
Is that a Scientology thing, or is that a Mormon thing? Which one's that?
No, I have no idea. I think it's like from, I don't even know if it's Norse mythology or something. more esoteric than that. I'm not sure. But it's very far north.
The white devils came down to destroy everybody.
Oh, well, have you heard about the Hellmouth opening in Oxfordshire in the UK? Have you not seen the Hellmouth?
I saw that there
Not
was
a
an
big
explosion.
explosion.
Yeah, apparently some lightning struck a methane lab or something. I don't know what it was, but it made some big explosion and lit up half of Oxford.
Bummer.
That killed that conversation. I'm good at that.
Oh, good grief. So when were you planning on, are you planning on going to a retreat in the US, or are you just going over with your overnight bag to roam around?
Oh,
Neil James?
I would like to go
You
to a
asked me if
retreat.
I was coming, and I don't know.
Well, I believe Debbie's
are you?
doing another
I didn't know
retreat,
you had a
isn't she?
special event.
Is she doing another one? I think they're talking about January 2025. And I am toying with the idea because it would give me enough time to save up. But if I come over, there's no way I'm coming over just for a weekend, you know, because it's like a long way, isn't it? Just for a weekend. So I'd probably try and stay a bit longer. But then the question is, where do I go? You know, because there's people I want to see everywhere in America. And it's like, so wherever I go, I'm going to have to not see somebody else. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure if you were going on a special river cruise or a ocean cruiser 2025.
No. I'm still tempted to go to Mexico and walk over the border and try
Probably
and
cheaper, to be honest.
Oh, it was very interesting to watch Elon Musk's 15-minute live video the other day. Very interesting.
Oh, I missed that. What was the gist of that?
Oh, he actually went down and spoke to officials down there, sheriffs and the mayor of that, whatever that place is where the bridge is that has been on the news so often, and talking about the numbers of illegal immigrants just walking across every day, thousands and thousands every day. The large districts that these people are manning and supervising with only perhaps 2 staff at a time on duty. It's a really good little video to let American people know what's still going on and what's really going on down at the border.
Yeah.
Well, I know that people are flying from Africa to Venezuela and then coming from there because the flights are booked from Africa to Venezuela.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
and I was very surprised that sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that that's something that you see from migrants coming into England and other, general European countries, but also coming into America, that it's like they fly, they do everything else, and then they ditch their passport and all identification before coming in.
Yeah, don't you think it's a bit weird that this is happening all over the world at the same time? You know, it's like it's almost like it was planned. Almost.
That was also discussed in Elon also mentioned that the people said it's not just happening in the US, it's happening all over the world. But I was truly surprised that they said that they're really not seeing many Mexicans crossing the border. I mean, and I thought, well, they've already had 2 years to do that, and they are the closest. But the people who are coming into the US now are from other countries, not from Mexico. Yep. They're very rarely finding Mexicans crossing now. They already made up their minds 2 years ago, and they're probably already there. Whoever wants to be there is already there.
It's been a while.
But this is how people from other countries are coming through.
Right. And I don't know. This is nigh on leftist of me, but just the fact that we are gutting the world of its young men to be our underclass is super great. And they're not really great for us either. But also, it's like, well, maybe these all the people industrious enough to get over here and get over the border might have done better in their own communities, like to stay there and figure that
what
out.
makes me laugh is that they're all coming here, and the liberal, crybaby types, the do-gooders. They'll say, "Oh, they're fleeing war. They're fleeing war." Well, it's like, well, go and get your bloody
What
wife
war?
and kids and get them to a safe country.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they're not
Yeah.
taking the wives and kids with them.
Yeah.
True refugees would have their wives and their kids with them.
Yeah, they're leaving them
Oh, yeah.
behind, and
Oh,
it's the young men that are coming, and that is the worry. So
Yeah,
if I was in charge of it, I would say that every country should only allow 50-50 male to female into the country, because what's happening here and in Europe is that they're all men, and there's going to be more men in the country than there are women, and we know that that is not a good thing. The only bad things will come of that.
Right. What was that one village in England that they were going to dump all the migrants in their old RAF base?
There's
And
been
it
a
was
few.
like a
I can't
population
remember.
of like, maybe 400 or 500 villagers, and like not even big enough to have a movie theater kind of a town, or, a
Well,
village, I
wow.
guess. And then they were going to dump like 1,000 young men there.
Well, the
And-
one
Yeah.
to watch is the Republic of Ireland, because they're going to have more migrant population than they do Irish population shortly. And if you look at what happened in Italy, there was that island with the name of which escapes me now, but they only have a population of 6,000, and over a 3-day period, 10,000, and then I think it was 12,000 in the end. Young men from Africa went there. Now that means that there's what is happening on that island now, because nobody's talking about it, and I can guarantee they're not all sitting around and being happy and being part of Italian culture. You can pretty much guarantee that the women on that island are probably having a hell of a time.
Frightened.
Frightened.
They should be staying at home, to be honest.
Well, yeah, if they've got any sense, they will until they.
Well, it's a very medieval mentality of, keep the women up in the tower, but also keep the women up in the tower because.
Yeah.
It's women in the West have been sheltered for a long time about how dangerous the world really is. I joke with my husband that he is my open carry weapon. And in the dangerous world, your husband or your father or your, the men in your family are your open carry weapon.
Well, something's happened in the UK that is really sad, but have you heard about the tree that was chopped down on Hadrian's Wall?
Yeah, the sycamore tree in the gap.
Right. Well, it's sad and it's horrible and all that, but the thing that has annoyed me about it is that there have been more police involved in that tree and more public outrage about that tree than all the thousands and thousands of girls that were raped by Muslim rape gangs.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
And I think it's a tree and it's sad,
yeah.
but I would rather women and girls were safe than save that sodding tree. Sorry, I'm getting really wound up about it because it does annoy me.
That's right. That's after with the Lawrence Fox dust up this past week, that Lilani Downing was saying that she's like, oh yes, he said a naughty word on TV. Also, there was a 17-year-old girl stabbed in London for refusing flowers and she died. Maybe.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, sure, yes, if you're making a free speech issue, yeah, I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk about the free speech issue. I'm saying is that's not even mentioned. You should mention that.
No.
Well,
And
the thing is,
sorry.
he said it was a little over the top, but it's no different than every TV host used to say for years, that kind of stuff all the time. All the nighttime hosts, they were all raunchy like that. They used to be. It blew out of proportion because he was mad about the whole male suicide. Male suicide should have been what the subject was, because you don't make fun of that. And but that's okay because it's men. So, let's just agree, let's just ignore.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's far worse to mock suicide, isn't it?
People say stupid things. They shouldn't end their career and their livelihood over it.
Well,
this whole, they said something bad, kick them off their job and they don't deserve to work. Like, when did we get so weak that that's our world?
What What did Lawrence Fox do except make a personal attack instead of a professional? You know, he made a personal opinion instead of professional opinion. He pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's all he did. I
and-
was watching him on trigonometry. It was a really good show.
Yeah, they're good.
Well,
Those guys, aren't they? The trigonometry guys.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know, here's what I don't really get about, you know, kind of the Western mentality of, you know, because I've seen it several times women say, well, we shouldn't have to, you know, learn self-defense skills. We shouldn't have to do, you know, this, that, or the other thing. And it's like I completely agree, you know, but the world we live in isn't, you know, it's like, yeah, we, you know, there are things that, you know, as women we shouldn't have to do. However, if it's between that and, you know, the other possibility, I'd rather.
Well, it's a cultural.
You know,
It's a cultural change because women used to be guarded. Women used to be protected. They didn't go out at night by themselves in bad areas because
No.
it wasn't safe. And the cultural revolution happened where women are, you know, fierce and can do anything they want and go anywhere they want. And which also prefaced the huge rise in serial killers in the 70s and 80s because a lot of women were putting themselves in situations they shouldn't be in. So if women want to live in this world that they've created where they can go anywhere and do anything, and they shouldn't have to be able to defend themselves, and they shouldn't have to be careful how they dress, and they shouldn't be have to be careful how they act, well, they're going to pay a price because the rest of the world doesn't see the world that way.
The way I
There's
like
bad
to think
people.
of this
And
is
also,
if
it's like, oh, you shouldn't have to defend yourself. Well, the world isn't sundrops and rainbows, and like maybe like accepting that will keep you far more safe than being like, oh, well, I shouldn't. What? You know, it's like, oh, well, I shouldn't have to lock my door at night. What? Oh, I shouldn't have to be cognizant of the fact that there's thieves and robbers and other bad people in the world, and therefore think about it and think about defending yourself.
or
Like, that's
just
ridiculous.
well, or just even something as basic as keeping your head on a swivel. I mean, you know, like my whole thing is that it's like I don't like being out alone at night either, and it's like I, you know, drive home at night, and it's like I don't even like it, but it's just
But
one of those
listen,
things where
your
it's like I was
culture-
taught though, hey, these are things
Yeah.
you can that you need to do. The world is not, you know, is not a soft, cuddly
So
place.
close.
You need
Yep.
to be able to look after yourself.
But listen,
You
it's the
know-
same for any young man walking the streets at night by themselves. A young man or an old man, any man.
Right.
Nobody can walk the streets by themselves at night
You're
now.
actually more
You
men
can't
are
go
more
to the
in danger
railway
than women are,
station.
because more men are men
You
do
can't
most of the
stand on the
murdering, and
platform.
most men are victims of that.
Yeah.
Most men are, and
Well,
you
it's
can't
just-
walk. You know, you can't in Australia now. You cannot walk on a railway platform without fearing for your freaking life, male or female. The culture, even though there's cameras everywhere, the culture is you could be attacked at any time. You could be carjacked at any time.
Yeah.
Our world has changed when you got out of your car and left your windows open to go in and get a bag of fish and chips for dinner. You cannot leave your car unlocked. You cannot be more than 3 meters away legally without having your car locked now. All rules and culture have changed.
Yeah, and one of the things that's rarely talked about in the media in the US is the change in the demographics of people buying firearms and going to the range.
Oh, yes.
It is women.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Women.
It is. And when we
Women.
go to the
So
gun,
many
when
women.
we go to the gun store, that's usually what we see. And it makes my son and husband happy because they believe women should be able to defend themselves. And it's a good thing that women are willing to because it's a scary world out there. And
yeah, it's the great equalizer. And one time
that was Colt.
I was talking with a male coworker about how I didn't like the no weapons policy in the office because I have we have a long walk from the office to the parking garage, and sometimes we work late.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if someone goes to rob you or whatever, you just give them your purse or whatever. And I'm like, that is not the only thing.
Oh,
that
can I
have
just
to
address
worry
something
about.
in the chat? Could we just put Senko Farms comment on? Yeah, I want to say, I don't think women are not as vulnerable as men. What I mean is that if you look at the statistics, more men are murdered than women, and
Yeah.
more murderers are men than women. So men are more likely to be killed or murdered. But I'm not saying that they're more vulnerable. Women are definitely more vulnerable than men.
Yeah.
It's just whether they're going to be attacked or not is the issue. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
I'm
probably
not
because of more men are involved in criminal activity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're turf
gangs.
wars and they'll
Groups.
gang activity, and they'll kill each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of men don't realize that we have more than just money and stuff, like possessions, that we have to worry about when we're alone and in a parking garage or waiting for the bus or whatever.
We had a lawsuit here.
But then again,
because they wouldn't
I just feel
allow.
like the devil's advocate for men. How many men have been raped?
Well, in Manchester,
You
I need
know?
to tell you this story.
I'm sorry, but it goes both ways.
Yeah, the
It goes
most
both
prolific
ways.
rapist in history is a man in Manchester that raped men. And he used to drive round and find drunk men. And this happened to a friend, not my friend, her friend's son. And he was drunk. He was 18 or 19, drunk after a night out. And this guy pretended to be a taxi driver and took him back, ended up taking him back to his house because he was so drunk, raped him. And what he was doing, he filmed all of the rapes. And they know that he did at least 200, 250 rapes. And the only reason some of those people even found out they'd been raped was because the police contacted them afterwards with the video to show them what had happened to them, because they were drugged and drunk and didn't know. And that was a man in Manchester here that did that. So men are as much at risk of being raped as women. I think it just depends if the opportunity is there. That's the thing, isn't it?
Well, we had an incident here because a lot of colleges do not allow concealed carry on campus. And this one woman had wanted concealed, she was a concealed carry holder. She wanted to be able to carry her gun because she took night courses. It was a long walk to the parking lot. And they said no. Yeah. She was raped.
Oh, grief.
Did she sue them?
Yes, but also the guy raped another woman and then raped and killed a third one. And when she sued him, she said, had I been allowed to conceal carry, those other women might not have been hurt. But because you have this rule that you can't. Now, my daughter's college, she's going from home now, but her college, they did allow concealed carry on campus, but not in the dorms. But in campus buildings and on campus and outside and stuff, you could have concealed carry if you have a license.
And now that all the boys and men are all non-binary and are all, pacifists, there's no strong male to actually help girls who are, because years ago when you went out, if you saw a girl being harassed by a bloke, you would intervene. Whereas now, I don't know whether they do that anymore, because they're probably, I don't know, they're all bloody men, women things, aren't they? I don't know what they are now.
Depends on where you are, but I mean, that's kind of the general.
I'm sort of talking about the youth now, though, very young people.
Well, I mean, again, it depends on where you are, but I've seen it, sometimes where someone will intervene, but it's not often, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, people have to be aware of their surroundings, period, male or female. And people think in this world, because we're civilized and because we're in the modern age, we can go out and do anything we want and we shouldn't have to take caution. And that's not the case, because things happen and there's bad people. And, if you put yourself in a bad situation and something happens, it's not entirely your fault, but your fault is that you put yourself in that situation without taking precautions.
Yeah, one of the things I like to compare it to is that, can you imagine if you pinned all of your money onto your outfit and then walked down the most dangerous place in town at the middle of the night and then said, but I have every right to wear my money, you know, without being harassed or having it stolen. You know, it's like, well, that's what's going to happen. You know, if you put yourself in danger, you know, it doesn't, that, and it's not like victim shaming, as some people would say.
Yeah, we don't live in Eden anymore. Like, it's, people need to deal with reality.
Yeah,
I honestly think now that I've got three adult children who are allowed to imbibe alcohol and go out to the good old local family pub, I am more afraid of my son being king hit and killed than I am of my daughters getting drunk and some dickhead trying to pick them up for the night. You know, I think the culture has changed completely for all young people, regardless male and female. But I think for males, young males particularly, it's even more scary to be caught somewhere alone or somewhere without a group of friends that can back you up. I mean, knives come out now and you cut open, or you are king hit from behind and your head smashes on the sidewalk and you are dead. So I think the whole thing has, the whole culture of being social and being out and enjoying entertainment or social avenues has completely changed in our country from 10, 20, 30 years ago. This is something I'm really frightened of for my son, for my daughters, more my son.
He's armed.
In that situation.
When my son goes out, he concealed carries, especially at night, because some of the places downtown aren't not necessarily the safest because they're tourist places, and that's, you know, where a lot of crime happens. So he always carries. And the bar they go to, sometimes they stay till closing because one of their friends is the waitress, and they will stay and make sure she gets to her car. Or a couple times she's called them to come in because she's getting harassed by customers.
Oh, wow.
And so he and his friends will go to the bar and, you know, make a presence so that she gets left alone. Either her or the other girls working, because that's the kind of guys they are. But, you know, at least she knows she has people she can call, but not everybody does. And unfortunately, bad things happen.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, so I think I'd just like to buy my own little island and be self-sustainable and be in my own bubble.
Yeah.
Grow my own wine, grapes.
Not food, just wine.
Make my own cheese.
It'll be like that one island in Pirates of the Caribbean where it's just them and rum. They're just sitting there on the beach.
I love that.
I would like to ignore what's going on in the rest of the world.
Well, I saw a thing in America. You can set up your own towns, can't you? I think Tabitha and I were talking about it when we did the thing about the cult in Oregon. I can't remember the name of the cult now. But if you have enough people, you can actually separate, can't you? And have your own town council and stuff like that.
It depends.
And I think that's what we should all do. We should find somewhere and call it Yarnville.
There's a town that they're building out in the desert that it's a private company building it, but I think one of the requirements is everyone has to be armed.
Wow.
And meaning that they have to take classes so that they're, you know, go through a CCW arm, not just, you know, because yes, we have a right to bear arms, but some people are stupid and they should have to go through a class before they carry a weapon, because there's a lot of dumb people.
I mean, often I think about throat punching certain people, but then I think I actually haven't had lessons in how to do that properly, so perhaps I better not.
And plus, I don't think you'd want to go to jail, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's just us, isn't it, Joe? You want a throat punch. It's not even anybody bad.
Honestly, I don't want to try to karate kick somebody and end up on my face. You know, I want to have lessons on how to do it properly before I decide to throat punch some moron who won't leave me alone, you know. Got to have lessons.
So none of us want to get throat punched by Joe.
No.
Yo-Yo wants to take that class.
By that stage, I'll have steam coming out my ears, and I can't be, you know, can't be held to account for what I might do. I might river dance on you after I get you on the ground if you annoy me truly.
Well, I think a lot of it's parents. I think a lot of it's parents. Like, you have to make your kids be aware of the dangers so that it's an automatic thing for them to take precautions. Like, if you raise your kids with them knowing, okay, when you go out with your friends, you all leave together. You all stay until everybody's ride comes.
Yeah.
You don't leave anyone on their own. If you're with your girlfriends, if you're
Do you
at a
think
club or
that's, though,
whatever, you
because
don't.
of
Especially in the
You know, I mean, that's how we raised our kids. So they knew the reasons why we would tell them.
Yeah.
It wasn't just us being parents telling them, you know, to ruin their fun, but the reasons why. So now it's automatic. When they go out, they take precautions. And a lot of people
that's
don't
because
care.
when we were
Mhm.
kids, we were literally thrown out of the house in the morning, and you weren't allowed back
Yeah.
in until the evening. You know, and you
Yeah.
fought your battles and you learned your lessons, didn't you? You know, you that's
Oh,
why you had
yourself.
to have friends. You know, and there was a gang down the road that if you got
Yeah.
caught, you would get beaten up. You know, and that's how it was, wasn't it?
Yes.
Whereas now they don't. They're
Oh,
all
yes.
they have helicopter parenting or whatever it's called, and they don't even.
Oh,
Like,
my
I went to
goodness.
the shops for my mum's cigarettes when I was 6. You know, with a note in the back of my pocket, and it's like, and that was normal.
Yeah.
Whereas now, teenagers don't even go to the shop on their own because the parents are scared they can't cross the road. You know, just think, what's
Yeah.
happened?
Oh,
Well, here in the U.S.,
that-
you get the parents get punished if their kids are on their own.
Well,
Oh, wow.
and you know,
oh, true.
like
True.
the thing with that though too is that, like, you know, if something happened to, and thankfully it was a very close call, but like somebody in a car pulled up right in front of the house, and luckily my brother was with a friend, and you know he's, you know, I'm not going to say, you know, exactly how, you know, how old, but you know, not yet a teenager, I'll say that. And
Yeah.
two people pulled up in a car, and he was right in front of the house, and they were trying to
Wow.
get him and his friend to come over to the car. I mean, so
Yeah.
it's just stuff is everywhere now, and it's, you know, like one of those things where, like, I can kind of understand why parents nowadays would be helicopter parents to some degree, because now it's just, I mean, you've got people just pulling up in front of the house trying to get you to,
Well,
you
well,
know,
it cracks me
come
up
on over.
because I read these things where they say, oh, you know, back in the day, women were treated, you know, so badly. Women weren't allowed to do anything. They weren't allowed to go anywhere. But it was because people valued women. The men valued the
Oh,
women in their lives. They wanted them to be safe. So they didn't allow them to go out at night to places by themselves that were dangerous. You know, they had an escort. It doesn't mean that they were trying to keep them locked away. It's just like, you know, hey, I don't want my wife to get
Well,
assaulted
to
on
be
the way to
fair, I
the
think
theater.
some
So,
probably did. I think there were some very
well, some
good
did.
I was going to
husbands
say,
and
But there's
some bad
always
ones, you know.
I don't think
but there's always
you can't
we watch
generalize
true
like
crime.
that, Liz.
There's always bad guys. But there's always going to be
No,
bad
there
people.
are a
I'm
lot
saying
of
some people, women used to be valued in the
not bad
culture, and they're not
guys.
anymore.
The culture was your wife did what she was told, and there's the old joke, what do you do when you're watching telly and your wife taps you on the shoulder? You go back to the kitchen and shorten her chain. Like, seriously, I don't think you can generalize like that. A lot of women belonged to their husbands and submissive to their husbands and did what they were told, because otherwise you were cut off. You didn't get your tea money to hide in the teapot. You didn't get driven to the store because women didn't have driver's licenses back then. If you didn't behave yourself in a normal, happy, regular marriage where your husband was the boss, you learned the hard way. You were isolated. You were not allowed out. You didn't have any earnings because when you're married, you couldn't work. You were stuck at home with the children. So I'm sorry, I don't agree with what you're generalised about women being
Joe,
coveted and put on a pedestal and looked
I
after.
think you're generalising a little bit as well, because I don't think every woman's experience was like you've just described either. I think some were, you know, some men and their wives
but
had
what I'm saying,
very well balanced. But I get what you're saying. I know there were men and women like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was traditional marriage. It was different. I mean, we're all different from different cultures, but there's generations before me where your job was to be a wife. It wasn't a choice. Your job was to be the wife, and you did what your husband said because he was the sole protector and giver of money. And if you had a drunk for a husband who didn't bother to come home at night, you're on your own. You're on your own.
But I don't
So
think every
I don't
marriage is
believe
like
that
that,
women
though.
have. No, of course
No,
not.
but if,
I
if
just
she was in a bad marriage,
hurts me
then
that
it
you
was
said that.
really bad for the women.
Yeah.
It
If they
was,
did,
but I'm just saying, in some instant, I'm not talking about like back in the old days when women were restricted. I'm talking about,
Okay.
when a man
Now.
used to make sure their wife got somewhere safely because they cared about her, not because they were trying to restrict her, but
Sure.
hey, they want to make sure she gets somewhere, or they pick her up at night because they don't want her walking in a parking lot by herself, that kind of stuff. A lot of that doesn't happen so much
Right.
anymore because women are so empowered that, they feel that they can go anywhere and do
Yeah,
anything
for
and be
sure.
anywhere without taking any precautions. And they should. I mean, we were growing up, your parents told you, be careful how you dress, be careful how you act. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations.
Mhm.
Don't go out with no clothes on because someone's going to react. Because you know what? That's what people do when you don't have clothes on, when you're half naked. It doesn't mean that you deserve to
Well,
have something happen. It just meant that you're putting yourself in a situation where something might happen.
I think that what was probably more true of the olden days is that men probably respected women in what they considered women's environments. So, for example, women
Yes.
were definitely in control of their homes. For example, it's a bit like the trad wife thing, isn't it? Women were the queens of their domain, and men were the kings of their domain. So I think it's only when those things were at odds with each other where you would have a problem. So obviously, if the man was boozing all the time and he wasn't doing his duty as a man, or if the woman was off being a prostitute at night or whatever, I don't know, I'm just making things up out of my head, and she wasn't doing her part of the deal, then there's going to be a problem, isn't there? But yeah, there was always bad actors, as you would say, isn't it? But I don't think all women had it that bad. I think
Well,
sometimes there's would you say now that women are happier that they have the freedoms they have now, or were they happier in the time when they weren't as free, in inverted commas?
yeah.
I think
don't
some women are. I think a lot of women.
Everyone's talking at the same time.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Tara.
Like if you look at just the rates of depression and anxiety in women and how many women are on some sort of medication, I don't know that you can say that they're any happier. I don't know that you can argue that they're worse off because 50 years ago they might not have been taking medication, they might have been drinking at home or whatever, and we don't necessarily have those statistics. But I don't think you can argue that they're any better off. At best,
well, I think
it's the same.
Well, you hear how many women who nowadays they're older, it's too late, they can't have kids, they regret not getting married and not having kids because they were focused on their career. And a lot of men don't want to marry women who sleep around. A lot of men don't want a wife that has a history. And so your life choices affect, your abilities later on, I guess. I mean, it's great women can have careers, women can go to school, women can learn. That's awesome. Women can stand, we're in a society where women can support themselves if they have to, where before they didn't really have that opportunity outside the house. And I think there's a lot of miserable women who try to convince the world how happy they are through their social media, when in reality they're miserable.
Yeah.
What I do feel grateful for being born in my generation is that if I don't want a man, I don't need a man. So, that's one thing that's different from my mum's early, adulthood, and definitely my grandmother's. I don't need a man to survive because yes, now we can work, now we can drive, now we can own our own businesses, be CEOs if we wish to. But 1.5 to 2 generations ago, and I'm an old duck, so it's not the same for Morgan, it's not the same for Tara or Anne, but for my generation, a generation and a half ago, that was not allowed. Once you got married, you weren't allowed to work. Women didn't drive, they didn't own vehicles unless they were on a farm and had to do it for their livelihood. So many things have changed, and so for me, it's freedom of choice, yes, And I'm very grateful for that, because I think if I was in my grandmother's era, my God, I would be one of those crabby bitches who, you know, belted the kids and drank a bit on the side, because my life would be miserable. And I do feel for people of those generations who didn't have the choices as women that we have now. I am grateful for that. You know, I joked earlier, the men are out feeding the chickens and taking the garbage bin out. But of course I can do it all, and I have done it all as a single mum for 10.5 years. Of course we can. You do what you have to do to survive. So I'm grateful for that choice, but held up on a pedestal.
Back in those days,
yeah,
if a man lost his wife either through divorce or she died or whatever, they often had absolutely no idea how to even look after themselves. They didn't know how to feed themselves. They didn't know how to wash the clothes, and that ended up becoming the sort of duty of women in that neighborhood, who would take pity on that man and help him out. You know, so there was two sides to this. You know, you know, men had their own limitations as well. North Star saying hello.
My dad used to live in a senior community. And he met my stepmom because he had to have his hip replaced, and none of us lived in the same state as him. So his neighbor across the street would come over and help take care of him and cook for him. And that's how he met my stepmom. Now, they had a thing in their neighborhood, because it was senior. Whenever anyone died, like if a man died, or it was horrific because there weren't as many men. But if a man lost his wife, all the old ladies would be there in a heartbeat, cooking for him, offering him things, looking, you know, to take care of him, because obviously he wouldn't know how to take care of himself. It was hilarious.
And also,
because all the widows would just, fall down on him.
Right, and also you have the community aspect too, that it's like, well, it would be horrible to be a single woman, but being a spinster or being widowed isn't a new thing at all. So that you did have these women who either stayed with a larger family unit, or they did find jobs of different degrees to do throughout all of history.
Yeah, or they went to a monastery, and like the work that women, you know, would do there was also valued. But I think what, you know, the feminists of like the 60s and 70s like lose sight of is that, like, the idea of the stay-at-home mom was kind of a historic anomaly, where the
women always worked.
Yeah, like the household was all from ancient times was considered an economic unit. Like the women, like they worked, they did things, they would sew, they would, you know, sell eggs, you know, they did all kinds of things. It was economic activity. Or they would help their husbands run the business, like he would be the tradesman and she would handle the books. Like that was normal. And then we had this historical blip where women weren't active in the house. Like the household was like not an economic unit, and so they weren't doing that. And so of course they felt like they weren't contributing or doing anything important.
Well, rich women didn't have to do anything because they would have servants, but you know, middle class and poor women always had to work.
I agree with that because okay, if you have a castle, you have staff, and if you have staff, it's the wife who's in charge. Now she can have a housekeeper and delineate most of her duty towards the housekeeper, but ultimately she's the CEO there.
Yep.
Right. She's the head of that.
That's what I mean.
She is running the economic unit.
Right. But what I'm saying is women who, you know, were middle class or poor, they didn't have that. They, you know, they had to work alongside, you know, washing, cook for other people to make ends meet. So there were always women who worked outside of the home if they had to, worked in factories or whatever to help pay the bills.
So Neil, can I ask you a very serious question?
Go for it.
With what you just so with what we said about the different sexes and two different genders and their roles and responsibilities and limitless ideas, how do you feel about two gay men adopting children. Do you have issue with it? Because I absolutely don't. And I'm curious, do you have any issues with that happening?
Yes and
Two
no.
men adopting children and raising a family.
I'm torn about it. I
Why?
don't. Well, I think it's better that a child has any parents rather than none. But I think the ideal should be a male and a female parentage, if you know what I mean. So I don't even think that the ideal should be two women either. I think that there has to be the male and female role model. And yes, there can be outside male influences, but there's nothing the same as a boy, for example, having a father, because I've taught so many young men that didn't have fathers, and they have absolutely nowhere. They cannot deal with the world. They cannot deal with male authority at all. So this is why there's all the problem with the police, where they can't be arrested, or they can't have a boss tell them, you can't do that, or you need to be here at 9 o'clock. And it's all because they've often had mothers who may have been strict when they were up to about 10, 11. But when boys become teenagers and they're bigger than their mothers and they're stronger than their mothers and they're willful and do what they want to do, there's no one that boy is afraid of. And so you could say, well, there's two men in a gay relationship. Yes, there are. But then where's the female influence? And that's the thing. But I would rather a child had gay parents than no parents. But I would ultimately think that it should be male and female. There's a reason why males and females can produce children. You know what I mean? There's a reason for that.
Fine. Okay.
You weren't expecting that,
I thought you might say that. No, I thought you might say that. I mean, it's very interesting to me because I do know, gay couples, men who have adopted children, and they have better marriages than some of the male. Of course, everybody's different. Everyone's an individual case study.
Exactly.
But the couples that I know have and you never know what goes on behind closed doors. But publicly, what I see are some really great families with these couples and have successfully adopted children who have all the opportunities in the world and have the grandparents or have the aunties and have that female influence in their lives and their school teachers, etc. And it goes back to that, it takes a community to raise or a village to raise a child. And so they have all of those influences.
I mean, this sounds really brutal, but who are those children afraid of? That's the thing, my question. When I was growing up, my father never, ever hit me, ever. Never at all. But there's an element that I was always slightly afraid of what, might happen if I did this or if I did that. You know what I mean? There was always that element of a threat that I never felt from my mother. From my mother, I just knew I was going to get, earache or psychological stuff going on. You know what I mean? So I knew I could handle that. Whereas I knew my dad was stronger than I was at that time. So, and I think that is what is wrong with most of society now.
Well, I think too, a lot of gay families, a lot of gay people do not have support from their families growing up, a lot of them. So when they do adopt children, they're putting a lot of love and and attention that they did not get as children into the children. I think, and I agree that having male and female influences is the best. But I think there's a lot of parents same-sex parents out there that are cherish their children because of the way they were raised and brought up.
Well, the other thing, just to be really controversial here, Joe, I kind of feel the same way about single parents as well. Better to have one parent. Yeah, better to have one parent than no parents. But it's better to have two parents, male and female. Because the thing is with, you've got daughters, haven't you? You don't have a son, do you?
She has both.
You've got a son.
She has a son too.
So how was it with your son?
My oldest.
How was it with him when he was a teenager? How was it when he was a teenager?
He's great. He turns 20 early next year, and I can tell you, he is still the young man who gives me a kiss on the cheek every night before he goes to bed. If he leaves my car, not that I drive him anywhere anymore, but every single morning when I dropped him off to his education, he would lean over and give me a kiss on the cheek and say, have a great day. So I guess at 10 and a half years, and I left my husband when Jack was 12 months old, exactly. Just after his 12-month birthday, I left, and I had him and 2 girls. I was pregnant with the girls. I was actually 5 weeks pregnant with the girls. So I spent my whole pregnancy just the 2 of us and the girls, and then we were a very tight unit, the 4 of us together for 10 and a half years. And I can tell you, and I don't believe it is my doing. I believe it's everybody who's helped me, the school teachers and the people we've met in our lives. But on the weekend again, I had somebody stop and say to me, your children are such good kids. Well, now they're adults, but people who've known them for the last 16 years while I've been here have said in this small town, have watched my kids grow up. And I do not have one person come and say to me, geez, your kid's a real shit, or your kid did this or that wrong. I've been very, very lucky. I've been very fortunate that everybody I have met in this town have come and even the lady at the pizza shop. Oh my God, your children are amazing. Your children are so polite. Your children are considerate. There is this little store in town that's run by men, for men. And one of the men came and said to me, oh my gosh, your Millie is so polite. She actually stops in our doorway, waves and says hello. And he said, and a lot of us suffer from depression, and that's why we all congregate at this little shop together. And he said it makes a world of difference to have a young lady stop in the doorway and ask, are you all right? How are you going today? And really be sincerely, not just flippant with a hiya, how you going? She actually really wants to know that they're going okay and are they having a good day? So all I get is compliments, and I don't take that as how I've raised them. It's taken all of us who've been in contact with them to raise them.
I wonder though whether what would happen if you lived in a city, because what would be what I've seen, like with students especially. This is where my view comes from. It's from teaching children, well, not children, but teenagers that don't have either parent, whichever way it is. What they do, especially the boys, is they're looking for a male role model without even knowing that's what they're looking for. And then they end up in gangs and they're doing what the leader of the gang says, because the leader of the gang is their new father in effect. And that's the only person. So, I mean, where you live, there may be gangs, I don't know, but I can't imagine it's going to be the same as like central London or New York or whatever. No. So, whereas a father, and again, even this wouldn't necessarily work in big cities, but fathers might have a better chance of keeping them out of that, but not always, because sometimes the father might be like that. You don't know, do you?
I think, yeah.
Well,
I mean, honestly, I did not. Sorry,
ahead,
Morgan.
Joe. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as an aside, I didn't even date anybody for 10 years. What was it, girls? 5 months and 21 days. I did not date anybody. I did not have any interest in doing anything other than raising my children for those years. So you
made them your priority.
Yeah, I think that really.
Yeah, they were absolutely.
I think it really.
They had my dad, who would come.
You made them your priority, though, Joe. You were not letting them think that they were less important than some guy you were dating, like a lot of times happens.
Oh,
so more than the guys dating. Your kids were your priority, and they knew that, and they knew they had you. And I think that we were you did what you could.
Anytime I had to go for a medical appointment or a dental appointment, historically places where they say to you, you cannot leave your children in the waiting room. My children went absolutely everywhere with me. I didn't use family daycare. I didn't leave them with anybody else. I didn't know anybody in this town when I moved here, and I didn't trust anybody. So I'm not a helicopter parent. I mean, honestly, my kids have gone out and I've not known where they are. I'm like, oh, okay, see ya. And my son will ring me and say, or text me and say, oh, I'm staying in another town tonight. And I'm like, good, see you tomorrow. And then he's not come home for 2 days.
Well, when I was his age, I went abroad for a year and ended up in a prison cell and didn't have any idea.
That's because you're a cherry picking felon.
Cherry picking felon.
So
Well,
no,
we
I'm not a
didn't. We never put
helicopter
my kids in
parent.
daycare.
Sorry, what's that?
I just wanted to keep my kids safe when they were younger.
Yeah,
They
I
didn't
mean,
go
we
to daycare. I didn't trust anyone to look after them. No.
we never used daycare
But it made
either.
good
My husband
memories
and I
for
worked
us.
split
Like
shifts.
you.
We did. He
Oh,
worked night
yeah,
shift and I worked day shift, and so one of us was always home with the kids.
that's right.
But they
Yeah,
have a really good
yeah,
relationship with their dad that a lot of kids don't, because a lot of kids only see their dads some evenings and on the weekends, whereas my kids got that
sure.
time with their dad, and they both have a really unique relationship with him. Like, they talk about all different things that they're into that I have no clue. I just sit and knit and let them, because
Oh,
they have their dad in their life.
I was watching a podcast the other day. It's Poor Choices with X-Ray Girl and Tugs, and the guest was Kelly Jones, who is a comic book illustrator. He did a lot of Batman thing, and I adore both Kelly and his wife Lynn. Like, I'm not even like really knowledgeable about his career, but anytime that they're on a show, I'm watching because they're hilarious. They're so clever and they're so knowledgeable. But anyways, they were talking about growing up that, Lynn had a job at a kind of high ranking job that she was off doing. And because, Kelly was a comic book illustrator, he mostly worked from home. So, so he was kind of raising the boys and everything, and how this went through. And then it was only till his kids were like 10 that they're like, Dad, you have a job? And he's like, what do you think I've been doing this whole time? It's like, I don't know. I thought you were just like watching movies and listening to music. He's like, no, I illustrate for a living.
Wow.
That's funny.
Well,
I love
and
that.
and
Hilarious.
speaking from personal experience before what you were saying, Neil, like, so I have two brothers. One is actually my half brother, and so the style of parenting of how me and my one brother grew up is very, very different to how my half brother has been raised. I mean, it's a night and day difference, because at the time, my parents were like, you use your manners, you be respectful, and with my brother, it was kind of that same thing, but not really enforced. And so now it's like one of those things where I kind of look and I'm like, yeah, you like it's just a complete, and I mean, and even though both parents are in the picture, I mean, the way that he's been raised is just, and so I look at him, I'm like, oh Lord, like,
Who do you think is the cause of that, though? Is it your mum or is it your dad? So you say he's your
his dad,
stepbrother.
for sure.
Is it you've got the same mother? Is that, or have you got the same father? So
same
it's
mother,
his dad.
same mother, yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, his dad for sure. Again, very, very different.
Oh, come on.
Does that annoy you? It must annoy you.
Oh,
Morgan, what
okay.
about that? What about when you have your first child and you're putting all that attention and information into them and educating them, and your first child can talk and walk by the time they're 10 months old, but then by the time you get to the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and so on, you're like, oh, sit in the mud, eat dirt, who gives a shit?
Oh no,
I'm over that.
No.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you why, because growing up with this man was absolute hell on earth. He treated my brother and I as if we were, and it was very weird, because to other people he would talk about us like we were so great, and how thankful he was that he had stepkids that were so great, but behind closed doors that was not the case at all. And so he wanted to be a hard ass with my brother and I when there was no need at all.
That's another aspect of it, though,
You were
isn't it?
good little nerds.
most children who are murdered or sexually abused or abused in any way, it's usually the step parent that, not always, but some step parents are great. I'm not saying all, but that's more likely if you have got a
evil stepmother is just a harmful stereotype.
Well, and so then on the flip side, finally when my youngest brother, came in the picture, now he is like a complete pushover. That kid runs the show. And it's gotten to
that's not just
for Neil, like you said earlier, he's now at that age where, and unfortunately the state that my mother's in, she can't be trying to, tussle around with him. And so things have gotten to a point where it's like, it's very hard for her. She's kind of fighting a losing battle because his father is not a tough male role model. Again, night and day difference.
Can you not send him to Dubbo in Australia? Joe Bob will sort him out in no time.
Army school.
She would.
Army school. And Morgan, I really, really enjoyed being a single mum in that aspect that my rules were my rules. There was no one to contradict them. The things that I expected from my children, I got because I was the only one they answered to. Not even their grandmother. I would push her out and say, mind your own business. This is how I'm raising my children. So as a single mum for me, because I was able to pay a mortgage, buy a house, I had that privilege that I wasn't homeless and I wasn't destitute. I was certainly very broke a lot of the time, but I enjoyed it so much. I could cook dinner whatever time I wanted. I could have breakfast cereal for dinner because I didn't have a husband who expected meat and 3 veggies. It was just me and my animals and my kids, and we were a very tight unit and we all were happy. I just wanted to make sure we had harmony. And that's what I got.
Men in
and
your area are all weird. Are they all like living in the old age? Like, are they like proper Bruceys expecting a Sheila?
Yeah.
I can tell you, Neil, I had men coming to my gate trying to court me with a carton of eggs or a bunch of flowers, all dolled up and reeking of cologne, and I'm like, please go away. I'm not interested.
Is eggs the thing? Is that what gets a woman in Australia?
Now the eggs would be more expensive than the flowers.
Apparently.
Is that what you?
Now it would
is that how you met your husband, Tara? Did he bring some chicken eggs for you?
No.
I've never heard that ever before.
Well, thank you.
My husband's
There's some
like
weird
a
ones
tough
in this
guy.
town.
And it's really weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of nerdy, and he's a tough guy. I don't know how in the world it ended up happening and working out.
Can I show you what I'm knitting on? And pink
Yes, please.
black
Oh,
on black
pretty.
on black on black.
Oh, is that your
Do you like
is that
it?
your find your fade? I love it.
No, this is
That's
my
really pretty.
birds of a feather.
Birds of a feather. Okay.
So is
That's
one of those
pretty.
Black on
fingering
black.
or lace weight and the other one isn't? Is that how you've got the difference there? Because one's more dense, isn't it?
I've got lace, Moen's Kids. It's got some sparkle in it that you probably can't see. Probably can't see the sparkle.
Oh, can see it there.
So
yeah.
that's lace weight. Oh, you saw it. That's why I thought if I put my hand behind it, you might. Oh,
you
sorry.
can see it a little bit.
You might see the sparkle, little sparkles there. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other is actually a little bit plumper than I was hoping. It's Surrey alpaca, and I was hoping it was a 4-ply, but it's more of a 5-ply, Neil. So it's quite robust. I mean, it will drape
good. It looks like
It looks good though that way.
For your life.
Yeah, it does look really good.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
I'm used to
The
having
alpaca.
I'm used to having that fingering, the woolen nylon, and it's a lot thinner and a lot drapier. But I think the alpaca will really loosen up and I think it will be a really pretty shawl. So this is my black on black, and pink of a take note. This is my first black on black project. And we've got 2 months, haven't we?
We have.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Okay, so there may be another one.
Are you getting it without
I
looking?
really enjoy this. Well, yeah, this shawl is really easy because I've done about 5. This is probably the 6th one now, and it is all garter stitch except for one little lace panel 3 times. So it's all garter stitch. It's very easy, and it turns into a beautiful lofty shawl. I highly recommend it. Birds of a Feather, Andrea Mowry. I think it's liner number 2 is the first place I saw it published. Let me just double check. And it has an errata. If you own this book, number 2, and you're looking at the Birds of a Feather in this, there is an errata for section 12, I think. Section 12. I mean, you can do it perfectly well with what's written in here, but there was an errata written and it looks nicer. Section 12 if you do it with the errata.
Can you show us the picture? Can you show us her version? Because I think your version is going to be better.
Sure.
Because I really like
I love your version.
Her version is in white and a little speckled yarn. Let me find it here. Here's her version.
Yours is better.
I like yours.
Oh yeah,
I like
yours
yours.
is way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, I think it looks nice in this. It's like
it's nice. That one's
white
nice.
mohair.
But yours is better.
No,
Yeah,
but the black is just the black just has attitude.
Mm.
You know, it has some.
And it'd be good for funerals.
Gravitas. It has some gravitas.
Elegance. Yeah, it's very
That's
elegant.
a close up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've done lots
Thanks
of
everybody
different
for
colours.
coming.
Oh, is it time to go already? Wow, that's gone quick.
Well, not yet, but I mean, we've already been on 2 hours. And I don't know how much longer Neil's going to stay awake, quite frankly, because
well,
We
I'm
have
wide
like,
awake
what,
at the
4 in the
moment.
morning?
I'll probably be awake all night now.
So everybody should be knitting with their black yarn or their yarn from Holly from Mystery Mouse Yarns for the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run, which I guess the hashtag works now, Anne.
Hashtag works now. We're all good.
Okay, so.
Well,
So,
before
yeah.
we go, can I
Puritans
just do a bit of
go.
plugging? Blocked
Yes.
issue number 10 will be out on Friday.
Yay.
So the patrons
Yay.
already have a copy, and we're just finishing off a couple of things, and then it will be out on Friday for everyone to read. And as usual, you can find it on the link tree. And I've been playing around with an app, not an app, but an app. I can't explain it any better than that. Where if you download not download it, but if you access the app, it will send you a message whenever there's a new issue been released. But it's still kind of testing. We're still testing it at the moment. So whether it'll work properly, I'm not sure yet. It kind of works, but then there's been a few little things that haven't worked quite so well. But yeah, it's released on Friday, and get your designs in for the mittens.
Oh,
Well, we
are the
need
templates
details.
out?
Sorry, what's that?
The template will be in this issue.
Yes, it's going in this issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Morgan managed
Okay.
to get her test knit done in time. Thank
Barely.
you, Morgan.
Barely.
Well, Joe's going to win, so she would probably think it would be better if none of us waste our time.
I can't wait to see Joe's entry.
Yeah, don't bother. I'm waiting for it to come out. I want to know, is it a template I can photocopy and just go to my heart's content to design, or do I have to write it out myself on a chart?
Right, you should be able to, if you can print it, so you should be able to print it. You can download the magazine and then print those pages. And if you want to enlarge it, you can enlarge it. Or if you want to, you can actually type out into Excel or into Stitch Fiddle. If you want to just use the numbers, that's entirely fine. This is the reason why I got Morgan to test knit it. I needed to know that the actual mitten itself would actually work properly, and it does, so we know that's fine. So because the pattern is adapted from a Selbu style mitten,
Right?
but it's not exactly a Selbu mitten, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So,
And you've got
yeah,
the
that would be
Oregon,
cultural
got the
appropriation.
Oregon version.
sorry, I've got the
with
what?
3 thumbs. The Oregon
thumbs?
version. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
for Tabitha.
Tabitha.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff.
Are you
Sorry,
sure you're
Grace,
allowed to use Selbu? Wouldn't that be cultural appropriation for you to have a Selbu knitting design contest?
I'm sure it is cultural appropriation, but I don't give a F you know what about cultural appropriation. And that's why I called it style, Selbu style, because it isn't a Selbu, because we can't call it a Selbu really, can we?
No. Well, you can.
Will be. Sue me.
Thanks for all our friends who came. Unfortunately, Teresa's internet went out, so she had to go.
Oh, I thought I upset her about her football team.
No, it was her internet. She would not have left for that. She would have come back at you instead of leaving.
Yep.
And it's Morgan, tell her it's early still. The season's still young.
That's right. that is right. Yeah,
That's right.
I know Pirate's probably not in the chat anymore, but he's already hating on Love and the Packers. Don't hate Pirate. Don't hate.
Yeah.
He likes Kansas City.
Did he hop on that bandwagon after the Super Bowl?
No, he was a fan before.
He's been a fan for a long time.
For years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have to give him that.
All right.
Yeah, my team's playing tonight. But thanks, guys, for being on. We appreciate it. Everybody knit something in black to make Anne happy. If you don't want to do that, knit a West Knits MKAL and be part of the West Knits or Worst Knits with Tabitha from Murder Knits. She would love to have you, I'm sure, because she's going to be spite knitting it. So I'm sure there'll at least be one video about how she hates it.
Tabitha's going to be worse than me sitting here now going like, oh, it's dark. I got to do these weird, like little, knit together stitches. What was that?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be at least one video of her complaining about it because, it's a West Knit shawl. Morgan was just on PIK. That was a great interview.
Yes.
Hopefully Neil and Tabitha are going to do some more murder chat soon because we like the murder chats.
Yep.
We will. Well, I'm hoping to have Kerry on the show very soon because we want to. I need to do the issue where we go through the issue for issue 9, which is the one that Kerry was the model for, and we did the hats for. So we're going to talk about that issue, but I don't know exactly when. We're still trying to. Because wouldn't you know it? She's busy. She's always busy.
Almost like she just came back from Europe and she has a mad raccoon in the walls of her house, and like people want to talk to her. And it's
Amy was monopolizing her. She came on my show, but she decided no.
It's almost like he's her mod or something.
Yeah, everybody please hit that like button. And subscribe if you already haven't. Check out Morgan's podcast, Handmade by Me.
Yes. Actually, one quick note about that. I may be having to create a different channel. So
what?
Yeah, because I had to change my phone number, and I couldn't remember my password for the account that I was using for the channel. And yeah, I can't get into it.
Okay, well, so follow her Instagram to find out when she posts a new episode.
Yes.
And Yarn Chicken and Chips is Tara's, which is awesome.
Yes.
And of course, Politically Incorrect Knitters. Hopefully, DK will be on one of these Mondays. And I heard a rumor that Tabitha might be joining us in a week or two on a Monday night. So that'll be fun.
Are you going to talk murder?
Hope
Who
so.
knows?
Oh, yeah.
More than likely. But thanks, everybody. Come check us out again next Monday because we'll be here.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great Monday night.